Good morning, everybody. Once again, I'm in the underground greenhouse. The date is June 9th, 2019. Just going to give you a quick update. June has started off with a bang. We had crazy winds for 2 days. One day was really bad, and it tore up my garden. So all those weeks or days that passed where I was like, oh, I should wait to plant out in the garden, I knew it. I knew something was going on. I don't trust the weather this year. So I'm going to show you kind of what happened. I also want to give you an update on the lime tree because our little limes are growing pretty good. Okay, so here's our lime tree. You can see we've got a lot of new growth on this thing. Some new growth up here. And you can also see the little lime starting to take shape. And fortunately for me, I've got 4 of them, so if 1 or 2 of them don't work out, hopefully we'll get at least 2 this year. And then on this peach tree, you can see we've got plenty of peaches growing on here, and they're just getting bigger and bigger. Okay, on the goji berry bushes, you can see we've got a little berry there and one there. So for the first time, we'll have some goji berries. Okay, and you can see the carrots are still growing really well in here. And then fortunately, I've kept a few extra plants in here because my tomatoes outside got beat up. I'll be able to plant a few more of these outside. Okay, here's the school project cabbage. And then next to it, I have one of the lilikoi trees. You can see I've actually cut the top off because it's growing too tall and skinny. I need it to fatten up. But you can see at the very top here, you got a little new growth. On the other lilikoi tree, if you remember right, 2 weeks ago, I chopped it right here, and you can see it has grown all the way up to here. So these lilikois are liking this warmer weather. Also, just for fun, I planted a few cactuses, and you can see this one here has a couple of new growths on it. Okay, so now we're gonna head outside and see the damage that the wind has caused. If you remember right, I had a bunch of really nice bushes with flowers ready to produce. They don't look so good anymore. So out here, I planted the 3 tomato bushes a week ago. Thank goodness one of them did well here. If you come over here, this guy has been blown over and it's really damaged right down here at the base, so I don't think it's gonna survive. I'll plant a new one here, and then our third one is clearly dead. The rhubarb also got beat up really heavily by the wind, and you can see that the 2 spaghetti squash plants that we planted over here are not looking well either. I think they'll survive and produce, but they're not looking good. And then finally, come over here, you can see that guy got everything blown off of him. I don't know if he'll make it back or not. And you can see these were the big, beautiful plants I had. They're just looking hammered. You'll notice that I did put in a drip line this week. So I installed this little piece here so we can get it into the drip line, and then we have these little runs going to every single plant in here. So we'll kind of follow that along and track the plants here. So that little pepper there might survive. Another one here, not looking so good. And come across here, that one's probably dead. So the big, beautiful pepper plants I had are not looking good. And it looks like the pumpkins somehow survived, but our watermelons are not looking good. So I don't know, that wind may have destroyed my garden for the year. Okay, well, I decided since everything had been destroyed, I might as well just really quickly plant some new plants. I'm gonna show you really quick what I've done. So looking at the tomato plants, you can see I left that one alone. And I took some soil and kind of stood this one up a little bit. We'll see if it comes back or not. But if not, I just planted a new one here. So we should be okay there. And then this one was dead, so I just put a new one in the ground right there. This was my pepper plant that got beat up by the wind. And this was just a tiny little one I had growing in the greenhouse, so I put that one out here. And then You can see here, this pepper plant, it's probably dead. I'm guessing it is. So I put a celery plant right here. And then once again, right over here, I did the same thing. This one doesn't look like it's gonna make it. So I put another celery plant right here. I've never grown celery before, so I'll be kind of curious to see if it works out. Okay, so the last thing I'll talk about is our raspberry and blackberry bushes here. You can see behind me here, we've planted raspberries and blackberries. And the funny thing is, we really haven't even watered these this year, and they're growing great. So probably have to turn the water on pretty soon, but I just want to talk about them real quick because they'll be producing fruit here probably in the next month or so. So anyways, that's it for today's update. If you have any questions or suggestions for experiments, I'd love to hear them. Thanks for watching. If you found this enjoyable, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Other than that, we'll see you next week.